is here. Mike, you can sit in for,
Jim.
yeah, Jim's
Jim?
not here. Yeah, sit in for Jim tonight. And, okay.
Did I resign you? On the minutes, on the.
Okay, the minutes of the May 2nd meeting, has everybody taken a look at those? And they came out and I don't know whether anybody has any comments, questions, or want to take a minute to just look at them before we... Boy, I didn't realize we did all this much last meeting. Looks like we were doing a lot here. I hope we're getting paid by the word or something around here. Oh, okay. As soon as anybody is prepared to, if anybody would like to make a motion on the approval of... And we have a second on the minutes as presented. Any corrections or additions? All those in favor of the minutes as presented? Aye. Those opposed? Motion approved. I'd like to take and get on to the status of the EDC chairman. I'd like to just change the order of the business here a little bit. We have a guest this evening and would like to recognize Gina. And Mike, maybe you could introduce Gina and give us a little idea as to what she might be presenting tonight.
Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Gina Hamilton with Exact Digital Marketing. And she and her business partner had presented to the Old Saybrook Chamber of Commerce, and I thought that we might be able to benefit from some of the services that they were offering. It's a new website initiative, I guess, Explore, Connecticut Shoreline. And with that, before I mess it up anymore, I'll give it over to Gina.
Thank you very much for having me this evening. It was an interesting drive. I don't usually leave Avon, Connecticut at about 5 o'clock because of the traffic, but it was a nice drive here. I haven't been in this area in a very long time, so I appreciate you spending time with me this evening. I'm going to talk to you about a new website, Explore CT Shoreline, which is the gateway to New England. It's a destination, a digital destination marketing opportunity for businesses on the shoreline from Greenwich to Stonington. But before getting into the details of that, I want to introduce you to Megan Smith, who wasn't able to be here today. Megan Smith and I met back in January of this year when I launched my business, Exact Digital Media, really focused on digital marketing. She brings to the table the travel and tourism. She spent 10 years in management and hospitality with Hyatt Hotel. She ended up, her and her husband ended up buying an 18-room inn in Vermont and managed that for 13 years. She served as the president of Killington Chamber Board and Regional Marketing Organization. She was also the Vermont state representative in 2009, and she launched the Tourism Caucus. So she has a lot of, she was Commission of Tourism for 6 years, so she has a lot of knowledge in travel and tourism. She actually launched the DMO in Vermont, so DMO is the destination marketing operations. And the whole idea is to bring that same concept to digital and offer the businesses on the shoreline a marketing opportunity to highlight the uniqueness in around these communities that are underrepresented. I have spent 22 years in digital advertising. I started my career in 1996 and moved on to sales and marketing, business development. I led 10 TV stations in 10 markets with EW Scripps Company. I managed the P&L, so I do have a lot of experience in operations for digital. Enough about me and Megan. This is our mission. We create a digital destination marketing opportunity for the Connecticut shoreline that offers local travel and tourism businesses a results-driven digital marketing solution to inspire travelers to visit the shoreline. We'll attract domestic and international travelers to Connecticut shoreline to explore and experience the uniqueness of New England. And then provide business partners opportunity to reach enthusiastic travelers who want to experience New England by showcasing the hidden gems of the shoreline. The website, as you see a mock-up here, is in production right now, and we intend to highlight destination spots within and around the shoreline. We're focused again on communities who are underrepresented via marketing, so we would bring that to the table. We're going to really focus on plan a trip, places to stay, things to do, events, festivals, and music. These are some of the categories we're going to focus on. Aside from the business partner opportunity, we'll have people who are out in the market developing content, more storytelling or in video storytelling to, again, highlight the parks and the beaches and the great places to eat and the fried clams, everything that represents what Connecticut shoreline is, right? This is just domestic visitors, some information, you probably have this information. Megan got this information from the Discover New England website. She's again in contact with Discover New England. These are the top 10 US destinations. We will market to these destination spot long distance areas so that we can attract and bring awareness to the Connecticut shoreline. This is an example of a walkthrough. The ability to virtually step into a location doubles the likelihood of someone visiting. This is the future of marketing. Everything is a mobile device, right? So 82% of people actually go to Google to conduct a search for products and services, places to stay, travel. Google is number one. We will have 360 videos as part of a marketing solution. This is an example of what a 360 video is that's overlaid on a Google map. Google has this program called the Google DMO Partnership, and we're applying to the Google DMO Partnership, and what that is, they give us tools to go out and present 360 videos and other content that overlays on their product for free. So we're taking this information, we're overlaying it on the map, and so that it's easier for people who are searching for places to stay on the shoreline, easy way for them to connect virtually. This is another example of categories. So when you're staying at a location, you can see businesses around that location. That drives foot traffic into those businesses. Our marketing initiative will be around bringing awareness to explorectshorelines.com through search engine marketing, which is on Google. It's a full funnel marketing tactic that delivers brand awareness to people who are trying to, travel consumers who are trying to plan out their trip to New England. Well, Connecticut is part of New England, not just a drive-through to Boston or Vermont or Maine, right? So we need to change the perception of what Connecticut Shoreline offers by making sure people are aware of what is to do in the area. Programmatic display, again, data-driven insights that allows me to, or allows us to target consumers who are specifically wanting travel information, right? Let's elevate that up and target people who are long distance to bring brand awareness to the Connecticut area shoreline. And then native advertising is positioning the brand to bring and educate travel consumers. And native advertising is similar to an advertorial in newspapers. This is a virtual sort of advertorial, but this exists on all publisher sites outside of Connecticut, and that's going to be our target. This is an example of what a Premier Partner benefits. This is what this looks like, right? So we're marketing the partners on our site. We're integrating social media so that it's easy for travel consumers who are coming to the site to book or to see or to understand what's in the area. We haven't come up with finalized pricing to this yet, but the pricing is going to be a charter program that allows businesses to enter and to be able to afford this. From high-end 360 video experience, walkthroughs through hotels, restaurants, and attractions, to enhanced profiles with multiple video, influencer video, where someone actually captures the experience of staying at a hotel, or capture the experience of walking through Mystic Seaport or through, Gillette Castle, right? It's the whole experience that actually targets the audience who wants to have a similar experience. Deals and coupons will be associated with the website. These are functionalities that allows the businesses to promote themselves, control when a deal or coupon is available. And again, native advertising, extending the same high data-driven insights so that we can highlight them specifically. Where is it? Wrong button. And again, everything is to, every single package, there will be 3 packages that we'll work on, is really telling the story around the establishment, the restaurants, and where to eat and so on and so forth. And, each of the packages, basic will be very basic details, right? But still enough to tell a story for that business. And then other opportunities too, which is geared towards customizing digital solutions to build brand awareness for the area, for the businesses along the shoreline, have this as an additional option for them to, you may have advertisers or partners who want to take advantage of more robust marketing solutions, and we can offer that. This is, when I was the GM, regional GM for EW Scripts Company managing 10 stations, my job was to focus on millennials. The millennial audience is something where the TV stations missed, right? The aging audience that they had were between 45 and 54. They're aging out. There's this sweet spot they could not reach. And I developed an opportunity across 5 markets that really drove audience and reached that market. Tampa Bay is probably the #1 taste and see Tampa Bay. Take a look at it. It's really about immersive storytelling. It highlights the area very, very well, but not just the restaurants and the big giant burgers and juicy burgers. It actually is a way for us to connect with the businesses. In this case, the advertiser was a ride Tri-Rail. It's a free shuttle to and from the airport. And we had our digital reporter who was part of West Palm Beach, WPTV. God, I can't believe I almost missed that. And what he did was he basically took a video, handheld, your phone, right, video, and just walked through just to experience the tri-rail. And this is the results, right? So Facebook Live, we will take advantage of Facebook Live and video so that we can reach a lot of people in the market and then outside of the market. It's about partnering with the right person with the product, and it's mainly like product placement, right? Your whole experience of riding the trail. And you know, demographic audience, this is all on Facebook. So you do live, and then it lives on Facebook and grows organically, which is phenomenal. So influencer video is something that we will definitely be doing. And then contests. This is an opportunity to build contests around the uniqueness of Connecticut shoreline. It drives foot traffic. It builds the brand. It does a lot. It allows you to build a database of people entering the contest, which is an additional way to market to them later on. So the whole solution, the functionality of the site is a way for you to, or businesses to be a part of along the shoreline, to highlight their business, the uniqueness about them, and to drive bookings or drive restaurant bookings, reserve a table, whatever you have. And that's the idea. ExploreCTShoreline.com, connecting you to travel enthusiasts.
Now, who usually hires you? The businesses, or basically a community-involved business association, or?
So what we're looking for is endorsements, right? Endorsements so that we can get businesses in one room to talk about the opportunity, right? Partnering with the chambers, partnering with the businesses that will help us get in front of the,
You need to get to the businesses
Yes.
so that you can explain
Yes.
basically what you offer, and hopefully you can sell them
Yes.
a product.
Yes.
And,
And you know, we will be partnering with the chambers, and they will get a page for that as well. So it's all about connecting the businesses to organizations and really telling that story.
now, have you worked on the Connecticut River Valley towns? Is where you're headed, or?
Yes.
I see that, you did Saybrook, you're
Yes.
in East Haddam tonight.
Yes.
Have you made anything with Chester?
No, we have not.
Resurrection?
We have not.
Okay.
We've met, Megan has met with the Connecticut, I don't know all of the people who she met with. She's really the face of this. I'm the marketing person behind it,
Okay.
right? And that's why she and I partnered. She has the connections, she has the travel and tourism knowledge and expertise, and I have the expertise in developing and growing audience, and that makes a perfect match. So we are really focusing on getting out into presenting this opportunity to the chambers. She's been just to get feedback, New Haven, Waterbury, Old Saybrook. I was in Madison yesterday, today in Moodus. So I think that, we will be getting in front of a lot of the chambers for the support, and then directly to the advertisers as well.
For their
We
financial
have a-
support,
go ahead, Brian.
excuse me, for their financial support, the chambers.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
because for an example, like when you see all these advertisements of Visit Virginia or
Yes.
Visit New York, they
Right.
seem to be the first ones that you see on TV.
right.
Who's paying for those ads?
It's gonna be self-funded with Megan and I.
Well, who's paying for the big ads that New York has?
I
Visit New
think
York, is it
the state,
chambers?
the state,
Those
It's
are
state.
from
Yeah.
state, those
it's
are
state
state,
funded.
basically it's
Yeah.
through the tourism
Yeah.
agencies. And I mean, we have that, I mean,
Right.
Connecticut has it, it's
Right.
somewhat limited, but,
Right.
I mean, we do have it.
And the state does benefit from it, obviously, because
Oh.
all the tax dollars that come in, so not just the
Right.
businesses, but it's a win-win
Right.
It's a win-win
situation.
for
Right.
everybody, yeah.
Right. This is separate from the state of Connecticut. We are focusing not on the state, but on the shoreline, and it's gonna be funded by Megan and I.
Through businesses.
Yes, yes,
Through businesses who want to join
who want to join, right, and we will be very transparent in our marketing and the results of our marketing too.
And that's gonna be the interesting part.
Yes.
If you can show us that
Yes,
a hotel is up their business through your involvement,
yep.
that's always the hard part to show, but you can
Yeah.
show that.
On digital, you can show everything.
Right.
I have techniques that, you know, for all of my partners or all of the partners on the website, we will tag their site so we can really determine when someone visits us, when they click on our partner profile, what they've done on that page, how much traffic we've driven to them, how many bookings they clicked on, which are the engagements on that website, and then how many people actually converted.
Yeah. Or
That's gonna be the game changer.
yeah, no, and that's how we can justify costs. Basically, if I know that I've gotten 5 reservations or I've gotten 500 reservations, then that says what my budget can be for any particular service.
And with digital, you show an ROI, right? So that's what I love about digital. It's everything is data driven, and you can show through data what the conversions were, and then the value of the ad, right? So we're gonna market ourselves, the website, bring awareness to the Connecticut shoreline. We're gonna share that information with our partners so that we're transparent in what we're doing, so that we're bringing awareness to the site.
Now, how many towns would that be? When you say the Connecticut Valley, you're talking about from Old Saybrook all the way up to Middletown, maybe? What do you?
I think that the shoreline, but you know, unique places like the offshoots of the beaches, the parks,
Yeah, also the coastline.
the coastline.
The
Yeah.
Connecticut River is the highlight.
Yep.
That takes the river towns all the way up to Middletown. It could go to Glastonbury.
Oh, probably not that far.
Perhaps
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But so before you could sign on and to start a website, you'd have to have X amount of customers. You can't just start with 5 customers, one from each
No,
town.
we're planning on, so at the end of June, we're planning on developing content outside of the business partners. So there's 2 pieces to it. You need content that highlights the area, which is editorial stuff that we're focusing on. Then I have a drone operator who I want to highlight some areas, because it's all about the visual, right? That's brand awareness.
And that's what you're really
Yeah.
selling. I mean, basically those walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Go walk through my hotel, and basically then you're going to get the feel. Is this the quality that I'm looking
Exactly.
for? Is
Right.
it? And basically you also had the people.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Who is there? Who is? And are they have a smile on their face, or do they are basically a moan on their face?
Right.
And so it gives you an idea as whether we have a happy place here where people are having a good time, or is it a place where okay, we'll hang out here
that
for the
sells,
evening.
Right, and that sells.
Now we have a group that's basically the 5 towns. They're all 5 EDCs that are basically from the Essex, the Deep River, the Chester, the Haddam, and East Haddam. And we work together on tourism.
Okay.
And this may be something that would be a good audience for you, because basically we
Absolutely.
get together once a month,
Okay.
and we go over tourism, and they're tourist businesses that we're representing and seeing what we can do. I know you had the Steam Train on here.
Yes.
They come to all our meetings. They're a member, and so I think this might be something that would be a good audience for you to.
I would love that.
To
And I'll speak for Megan.
Oh,
Megan
okay.
and I would love that.
okay, and
actually.
I
What your
think
launch date is?
I'm sorry?
Your launch date, like when is it?
We are officially wanting to launch in September. We want at least 15 to 20 partners on board with us before launching. And you know, the fall is a lull for the area, right? So what we're doing is let's launch in the fall, bring some highlights to areas of what to do in the fall season, but really gearing up for next year.
we have basically fall weekends, and so actually it's a pretty good, it's a Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah,
And so we try to do a real promotions for Columbus Day weekends.
that's awesome.
And it's basically with the wineries, the restaurants, and we team up with Essex Steam Train. And so they basically come up to the river and go to the East Haddam Bridge, and then we send basically some minivans across to pick up
Oh, that's awesome.
pick up people and bring them up to our wineries at Gillette's Castle and some of the other sites around that might fit into what you're
absolutely.
doing, and if you're trying to do
I
something
think
for
it's
the fall.
amazing. I lived in Connecticut all my life, right? And I've left Connecticut for various opportunities. But it's amazing how many wineries are in Connecticut. It's shocking.
And there's, these are, well, they're newer. They're not old wineries.
Right.
They're not
Right.
California here.
Right.
But I think that it's interesting that people are going into this industry, and one we have is doing extremely well.
Good.
And so it's nice to see that there is some growth and some opportunities for a multi-generation ownership of a farm here.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
which is kind of nice in this day and age. Well, I certainly thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Gina? And I think it's very informative, and if it would be okay, I would like to, just at our next meeting, explain to them what you are doing, and if I could give you a call and ask you if you might be able to make a presentation to that group, because then you're going to have 5 towns all in one time.
Yeah, I would love that.
And we usually have maybe 10 people representing the 5 towns, and so I think it might be worth your while and ours.
The next meeting will be more of a show and tell, because we're basically producing the website now, so that's going to be interesting.
Yes. Yes. Now, have you had any working with the Essex Steam Train? Is that something?
Megan actually consults with them today,
Okay.
and Riverboat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're certainly one of our partners, and so we partner with them. We've got other things going on with them, and certainly they're one of the key tourism businesses in this area, and they're wonderful to deal with. We've had a wonderful working relationship, and I've been very impressed. Well, thank you very, very
I
much.
appreciate
A pleasure
your
to meet
time.
you.
Thank you. Do you have a business card that I can take?
Yes, I do. I'll
Okay.
certainly get it for you.
Just real
Thanks,
quick, Gina,
Susan.
the
Thank you.
Roosevelt.
Yes.
Are they a customer
We
of
have
yours?
all
Do you
business
have
cards
any-
now,
Okay,
right?
you sent a picture.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Yes.
On them.
Do we have some?
I
Package
don't.
store agents,
Yeah.
they,
Your name on it?
Sure.
But, yeah, it's a matter of 2 weeks or
Yeah.
3 weeks after
Yeah.
launching that it usually,
You get some real numbers.
Mhm.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
Enjoy your ride
Well,
home.
thank you.
Thank you.
likewise, thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting.
Thank you. Bye.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
And I will
Thank
certainly,
you.
I will give you a call and see if
Okay.
you'd like to.
Thank
do
you
that.
so
Very
much.
good. Very good.
Thank you. Am I missing people? Thank you. Have a great evening.
Yeah, thanks.
And I love the technology in this building. I'll go okay.
All right, we make some of the technology go away.
Yeah, straight out left.
Straight out.
Straight out and then left?
Take a left.
Right,
Oh, right? Okay, I got it.
left, and right.
Yeah, get out of here, huh? But, well, that's very, Mike, thanks for you for bringing her. I think this is a nice little concept.
And
Yes.
you see it, that it would be a good fit.
Yes, no, and it's just nice to know that's out there.
There's people out there to help. Yeah,
To
absolutely.
take and get us started on some of these things, because I think that is what our problem is. We need exposure, and if we can get good exposure, that could work.
Yeah, excuse me, Bob, what is it that Debbie's doing? Debbie is in a different program also for tourism in Connecticut.
Matthias? Yeah, she works with one of the state, I think it's state, isn't it? Regional
Yeah.
tourism boards.
Yeah.
And I know that they've shrunk these boards. I think there's just 4 left, isn't there? The tourist board?
The southeast,
But those,
like,
So she's the Mystic area.
would those two parties benefit They're
Sure,
trying to
sure.
be
Oh,
independent.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
independent.
definitely. I mean, she would become, because, I mean, she's Mystic area, that's where Deb is.
Yeah.
And this is going from Fairfield County to Stonington.
Right.
So, I
Yeah.
would think that, that would be a good
'Cause
connection.
they must know each
Absolutely.
other, because they both benefit each other.
Yeah, well, you
That
know,
would be a
Tourism,
good
more-
connection, yeah.
More tourism,
yeah, I think it's,
state, better for
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
it's just connections.
Yeah.
Right.
And if anything we can do to promote it, I mean, you know, and we could
Right.
do some really good stuff, but between, you know, the castle, we hit, you know, basically the Goodspeed, we hit Staley's, we could take and hit iPark, and, you know, we could hit some of the highlights around.
Well, this is what's been hidden for all these years. We're waiting to put our thumb on something. Can we make this town more vital? Not just
Yeah,
our town,
absolutely.
but across the river, up the river, all around. And it's been sitting
area.
right in front of us.
Yeah.
What we have.
Yeah.
Natural,
And we got good stuff.
Oh, we got
East
real good
Haddam's
stuff.
really got some good stuff.
Right.
And if we can get it out so we can
River town.
sell it a little better.
we are a river town,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
But we haven't capitalized on it.
No,
Yeah.
Other than the bridge. That
They
doggone
don't get
bridge is
past-
open again.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah.
we should capitalize on good thoughts about the Connecticut River
sure.
being in our town.
Well, and you
But
know,
we
you
haven't.
go to almost any state magazine, and that bridge and the Goodspeed and that river is on it. And if it isn't on the front cover, it's on the second page.
But unfortunately, that's where it ends.
I know it. We haven't gotten them
Made
in.
$1 off of that river.
Yeah,
I've been in town since the
Yeah.
fifties anyways.
yeah, for a while.
Yeah. I don't think we can say, other than Main Street East Haddam paying a fair amount of taxes, that how have we made money off of the Connecticut River? We don't make it by boats coming in.
No, we don't have a
Technically, you gotta be
marina.
a member of the
Yeah.
Goodspeed Opera House to park on the dock and to come up and get a hamburger. But other than that, we haven't capitalized on it. Fortunately, across the river, with the steamship, with the boats and the
Yeah.
train, they're starting to bring some customers over, and we're trying to help them.
Get them
find a
over
way
here.
Yeah.
To get them over here, and it's been quite a struggle.
Yeah, Yeah.
So,
but
the river could bring us a lot of money.
there's no doubt about it. I mean, let's
Bring
face
the
it.
river back to East Haddam.
Yeah, it is, and it's a beautiful river. You know, you get on a boat and
the
go up
river.
and down that river.
Every
and-
town, like I've said before, every town, country, continent capitalizes on water. If you have a pond in your town, whether it's Golden Pond or a swamp, Washington DC, it brings money.
It is. It's always around water.
Swamp, even a swamp.
There's been some swamps, they just make something out of them, that's all. But, well, what I'd like to do, and like I said, thank you very much for bringing her there, and I think that was very informative, and I think I might be able to introduce her to the other towns.
Yeah, I'd like
which-
to actually.
And
sit-
I think that could be helpful for her and helpful for us, because then we could have a big enough market to make it, so we could put something together here. You know, it's the old story, we can't do it town by town, but we can do it by 5 towns as one clip, and we'll kind of go from there. But I wanted to introduce the new director of Chatham Health. Russell is here tonight to give us a little idea as to what he's going to be doing with Chatham Health, and gives us the opportunity to speak to him about the things that we have had in the past and hopefully in the future. And I just wanted to have it so we could introduce yourself to us, and maybe just give us a little idea as to where you came from and what attracted you to Chatham Health District. And
Sure. I'm informal. Is it okay if I stay seated?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is very informal.
Okay, good. Last time I was in this room, I was being interviewed with Chatham, so.
Oh, okay.
I came to Connecticut, let's start there. In 2003, I was living just outside of Washington, D.C., working for the American Red Cross. My wife, she's from southeastern Massachusetts, so not too far from a small town. And in 2001, the terrorist attacks kind of threw a wrench in our plans and enjoyment of the area. And then in our neighborhood, there were these 2 snipers who were murdering people. I don't know if you guys read about it up here, John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. So the whole idea of living in a big city like that sort of didn't sit too well, especially with my wife, who's from a small town. So we decided to move up to the Northeast, and shortly after all that happened, the United States invaded Iraq. There was an opportunity in the American Red Cross where I was working I was working for the American Red Cross in DC. In Farmington, there was a researcher there who was a reservist, got deployed. So there was a year of work. So I took the opportunity and took the job and came to Connecticut, and that was in 2003, and never looked back. So I first moved to East Granby, and I worked for the American Red Cross for about 9 years, and then moved into working in local public health practice. That was more on the research side of the Red Cross. Local public health practice is where I felt I really wanted to be because I really enjoy people, the aspect of people. Red Cross is really focused on research, and I wanted to be in public health practice and sort of see the difference made in people's lives. Research didn't really afford me the opportunity to do that. And Ledgelight Health District had an opportunity to work as an epidemiologist, so I took that job after being offered that job, and that was based in New London. And I worked there for about 9 years. And for about the first 5 years, I was strictly the epidemiologist, doing a lot of data analysis, public health assessments, things of that nature. And an opportunity there came up to supervise the health education and promotion group. And so I took it. There were 5 health educators down there, and we had programs that ran from substance abuse prevention to farmers market promotion, to diabetes self-management, to tick-borne disease education. We really sort of ran the gamut. It was very exciting. Seeing sort of public health practice and public health promotion side of things was exciting to me. And I did enjoy the administration of it, sort of making some of those decisions about how to spend the money that we had, where to seek other funding opportunities to expand the programs that we had through grants, without burdening the towns by increasing per capita, was interesting. It's a little bit tight these days. Grants have been shrinking, and so it was difficult. We didn't get everything we wanted, but we did manage to do some things. And moving more into the administration side of things, I thought that I would like to make my mark as a health director, sort of set the direction for a health department. And I'd seen a few of those sides of things. I had taken the coursework for subsurface sewage, thinking that might help me round out my training, and spent some time with sanitarians there, going out doing food service inspections, doing test holes, seeing development done, just to sort of get the bigger picture of everything that is done in local public health. And I moved from East Granby to live in Colchester after I got the job at Ledgelight, so I've been in Colchester for about 9 years. And when I saw the opportunity, let me also say, I know that there was a little bit of a mess with the previous director, Thad King, and there were some ethics violations there. And I thought, this is my health department. This is the health department for my community. I know that it's been really nearly exclusively focused on environmental health with very little else for a very long time. And I feel like that health departments should be doing more for our communities, especially my community. I just didn't see a whole lot of Chatham Health out there living in Colchester. I didn't see it. There were other health director opportunities that came by that I didn't apply for because I didn't think it was where I wanted to be. Where I was working at Ledgelight was a really nice health department. I wasn't going to leave for just anything, but again, it's my health department. And so the opportunity came. I applied for the job, and now here I am. I've been here for 6 weeks, so not a very long time. Just about enough time to get to know the staff a little bit, to get to understand the programs that we offer, to understand a little about the history of the district, to get to know some of the town officials, not all the town officials. And so far, the staff, I've come to understand them to be a really good, expert group of people, really well-intentioned. I think if there are things that I stress with them already, there are things like accountability and communication, operating equitably and ethically, and operating within the framework of the laws and regulations that govern the things that we're allowed to do. I think those kinds of things, especially communication and accountability, I think those are the two things. If you can get those things right, people are communicating adequately, then you're going to see good customer service. You know, you're not going to let somebody's call go unanswered for a few days. Just the basics. Because I didn't really come from the regulatory side, I look at the regulatory side of things through the lens of a public health person, and that is the regulatory side, which is most of what we do at Chatham still, is the reason there are regulations because we need to protect the public's health, right? So it was born out of good science and evidence to say when people do this and operate this way or behave this way, health suffers. But there's a balance between enforcing regulations and being onerous with individuals. So I also know from being an epidemiologist that there are two things that impact public health more than anything. It's the education level of a community and it's the economic security of a community. Those two things more than anything impact public health. If you look anywhere in the world, when you have a population that is well educated and or a population that has jobs and a sound economy, you're going to see better health outcomes. It doesn't matter what the regulatory side of things is, doesn't matter what you're studying, doesn't matter what education programs you're doing, you're going to see better health. So I tend to emphasize risk when we're looking at laws and regulations. Sometimes laws are black and white, you have to do things the way they're written, so I read the law a lot, I read our regulations, not coming from that side, I look at those things, I'm trying to educate myself, but sometimes the law and the regulations are a little bit gray. You know, they're written as well as they can be, but they are not written in such a way that in every scenario there is no decision that you have to make. So I tend to look at those things through the lens of risk, you know. The law is a little bit wishy-washy here. What's the risk to the public health if we do this, and what's the risk if we do that? So that's sort of my lens of looking at things, my background as an epidemiologist in terms of health promotion. That's how I look at the regulatory side. But I do ask a lot of questions of the sanitarians, for example. They're the ones that have been doing this for 30 years, plus some of my folks.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty good marriage of a strong regulatory agency that's been doing this for a very long time, very well, and somebody who doesn't have a background in that. So far I think the marriage has been very good, and it's been working well.
Good, you know?
That's my summary from 2003 until today.
Well, I mean, obviously being newer, you know, to the new district and all, I mean, it's not a big deal of difference. I mean, Ledge Light and, you know, you're coming up into the country here a little bit more.
There was some of that at Ledge Light, you know, I mean, yes, there was New London and Groton, right?
Right.
Groton's sort of like Middletown down there. And
Yeah.
New London is kind of the urban core, if you will. But then there's Stonington, which isn't unlike a lot of the towns in this district. There's East Lyme, there's Waterford. Those towns are very similar here.
You have Old Lyme too, don't you? Old Lyme?
Yeah, Lyme and Old Lyme, North Stonington, so Ledyard, fairly rural place. So it really ran the gamut from an urban core with a lot of issues that you might see in an urban setting to, you know, rural towns where you can't see your neighbor, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I think where we are, it's pretty much rural towns. We don't have you know, a Groton, or we don't have a Middletown.
There's no urban core here.
No.
You know, if you will, the big city in this district is Colchester.
Yeah.
It's like Main Street. Wow, you know, look at all the restaurants. But
Yeah.
you know, that's the urban core here.
Yeah.
Buddhist might be the second, but that's as close as it gets to the big
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
Do you have Colchester also?
Yeah, Colchester is part of Chatham.
Okay.
5 towns you have, right?
6. Yeah, 6.
And excuse me, I didn't get your first name.
Russell.
Russell.
You can call me Russ. People have called me Russ
Okay.
my whole life. So.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't get your position that you're holding with Chatham Health. What is your position?
I'm the director there.
You're the director. And how many directors are there?
Just one.
And what's Andy's position?
Andy is the chairman of the Board of Health. So maybe I'll back up and say, we'll talk about the structure of local public health in
Okay.
general in the state. There are municipal health departments where a single town has a health department. They'll typically have a director, some sanitarians, somebody who does health promotion depending on the size of the town. And then there are district departments of health wherein at least 2 towns, sometimes more, have decided to regionalize their public health services. It's done principally to save costs. You only need one director for 6 towns, whereas in the past there would have been health director in Colchester, health director in East Haddam, health director in every town in the district.
So would we expect to see you here occasionally?
Yes.
Would you, so you're not at the main
If
office?
necessary, you know, as the, it depends. It depends on the situation.
Because you have a director and you have your field staff? Is that
Yes,
what
so
they're
most of
doing?
what residents need on a day-to-day basis is a sanitarian.
Right.
You know, when you wanna put up a pool, you're gonna wanna take out a permit and you're gonna wanna get a B100A review, for example. That's gonna be done by a sanitarian. It can run from 30 minutes to a couple of days if it's a complicated thing. So most of the time, people are gonna engage with Chatham Health District through a sanitarian. So we have sanitarians that have designated office hours in each of the towns. And we typically have sanitarians that are assigned to one or more of the towns. So right now, we've got Steve Knopf, he's assigned to Hebron and Marlborough. We've got Don Mitchell, he's assigned to East Haddam and East Hampton. We've got Jim Karenberg, he's assigned to Colchester principally, and also he does some East, he and Don share East Hampton.
Right. That's
so-
Don who? Don King?
Don Mitchell.
Don Mitchell.
And Don Mitchell was the former director.
Right,
He
that's what I
was
thought.
director
So-
for I think 4 years and stepped down but not away.
He did, so he's a field,
He's now back being a field sanitarian until he retires in October.
okay.
So I think in the past, I don't know who was assigned to East Haddam.
Liz Davison was here for,
Liz, okay, so
Liz was
Liz-
here for quite a few years, and so that has been, you know, one of the issues that came up was that for a period of time, we weren't
Major.
well represented.
Major issue.
And so we weren't getting basically the services that, you know, we felt we should be getting out of Chatham Health. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong, I mean, basically, I think we've seen improvements. This board basically started to look around at other options and talk to the first selectmen about other options rather than Chatham. And to see what was out there, see what the costs were, and basically see what they could offer the town of East Haddam. Certainly, you know, you just have to jump across the river. Haddam used to be with Chatham. We work a lot with them, so we saw what was going on with them with basically Connecticut Valley, River Valley Health District.
Connecticut River Area Health District, right?
Yeah, area health
There are a
district.
few others, it's not just Chatham, I don't know, do you border, what's to the south, is it Chespercott or is it?
No, to the south, basically, it's the valley, I mean, the Connecticut area.
River Area Health
Yeah,
District extends
because they
south.
go down the River Valley.
Okay.
And Saybrook, and then they hop over, I think they picked up Clinton over there too. And then basically, if we go over to the old line, I mean, then you're
Ledge
back into Ledge Light.
Yeah, Ledge Light, yeah.
And then, you know, basically Chatham is kind of this little area, and that's really I'd say those are the three you're probably gonna, if we go out further, you're getting too far away from the main office there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some towns, I don't know, does East Haddam border Middletown across the river? not
We're
direct-
not, we're
just
really
not
Haddam.
direct.
If you jump
South.
across the river, you're in
Okay,
Haddam.
Haddam,
And Middletown's just up a little ways. And I don't, do they have their own, or
They do,
Yeah.
you know, but, you know, I'd love to keep East Haddam in the district.
Well-
But you could always explore things like reaching out to Middletown and saying, do you wanna form a district?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those things have happened where, you
Yeah.
know, a town,
Well, I think that, you know, since I would say for the last several months, there has certainly been huge improvements. Having Don assigned to East Haddam, I mean, I've worked with Don for 20 years and found him to be a very good sanitarian. I mean, he knows his stuff. He wants it done right, but he's also, you know, being reasonable when we have a situation, just like you were saying, that when we're dealing with existing septic systems out there, we do the best we can with what we got to work with here. And he's always seemed to be somebody who you could work with.
Right.
And I think that, and Steve, you know, if we ever have a problem, we go see Steve.
yeah, there's, I think sort of the value in having a district as opposed to sort of your own health department is, especially for a small town, is to have sort of varied expertise, you know. You may have somebody who's really excellent in understanding kitchens and food service, and you may have somebody who's really expert in understanding septic systems, you may have somebody who's really expert in understanding wells and radon. You know, those are the kinds of things that you get when you have a district with varied expertise. So,
Excuse me, and with those expertise, you've got to be very forward with us, because when you give us the wrong advice, which has happened to me personally, I'm a business owner in East Haddam, and with your bad advice, it costs me a lot of money. And I can bring up points that are documented.
yeah, I'm
Bad
curious
advice.
what your experience was.
And another thing that even hurts more than that, that hurts the pocket. But you know what hurts more is a bad attitude.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've said it before at these meetings. A state trooper can come into your house with a bad attitude or stop you with a bad attitude. You know what you got to do? You got to bite your tongue. But with a building inspector or a building official, Chatham and Health, when your personnel comes onto our job with a bad attitude, that hurts. And I've had it right up to here. I won't allow it anymore. When your personnel, if they have a bad night before, don't come on my job. I don't need
I
it.
agree 100%. If you have an experience like that,
Yes, we did. And that was a major problem for several years here. And that's been documented right into Hartford. People have gone to Hartford, but it didn't go anywhere.
did you
It's
reach
attitude.
out to the
So,
director and say,
it went to Hartford on this one particular case, not to mention any names. But you know, one thing, we pay you roughly around $94,000 a year. Plus we pay you another $30,000, $40,000 for permits. Sometimes when I go to get a building permit, I have to go through 6 departments, and every time it's $35 here, $135 here. I go home, I gotta get my septic tank pumped, it's another permit. Have that right up to there. So we're living in a day and age where we have to pay permits, and the health district is important to keep our restaurants clean and so on. That's another subject. When you come in, we don't like to be monitored, but we're living in that day and age where you gotta inspect, and I'm in favor of it. But when somebody comes into a restaurant owner, and if you've ever been a restaurant owner, there's a lot of pressure going on. You don't need somebody coming in with an attitude. They're not a state cop. So it's the same thing here. We've got our fingers crossed that we're living with the inspections, that your personnel comes in with a good attitude. We've had problems with that with building inspectors, and we're cleaning things up in the last 6 months. 6 months ago, a year ago, you should have come in here with a coat of armor. If you think Washington, D.C. was tough, we were really upset. And it's hard to speak up because they're protected by different individuals from your department, from First Selectmen. Everybody's protecting everybody. And the guys out in the field, we're eating it.
well, all I'll say is, I hope you'd reach out to me if you have an experience
I
like that.
will have
So
to, and that's what we should do, and that's good advice.
Come to me first.
We will.
Yeah, I don't tolerate poor customer service. And
Yeah.
when I say customer service, I mean, it can be an attitude. It can be not being responsive, not being communicative, not explaining things adequately, making decisions based on incomplete information. Those are the kinds of things that I don't tolerate. So,
It'd be a big help.
but also in the regulatory side, when you got an inspector that's got to do a job, I've heard stories. I'm not saying it's you or anybody else, but when you have a restaurant inspector goes in, there are times when there's a restaurant owner who obstructs their ability to go into different parts of the restaurant for whatever reason. And while I understand sometimes there are busy times in a restaurant, for example, and you want the inspector to understand the kitchen is slammed. This is maybe not the best time to come in. But other times, there are times when inspectors are just basically show the door.
Yeah. We cleaned up a lot here. EDC helped clean up a lot because it was getting out of control. And EDC, thanks to Bob, speaking up at one of our meetings, bringing in the First Selectman, getting Andy involved, helped clean up things. And no matter how good your company is, I think we always need a little good advice, a little knock on the door. I think you better open your eyes up. And your department has cleaned up a lot, and we're very appreciative of it. Not really of all the permits, fees, and all that. That's another subject. But and I guess we have no choice but to accept it. But we don't accept the attitude.
And just, again, I don't accept the attitude either. So I know you don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, but if you want to speak privately
Well, not
about your
yet.
experience, I'm happy to speak to you about it. You know, I want to hear
That's
about
great
it.
to hear.
You know, I don't
It's really
wanna-
like welcome aboard, and you'll make life easier. We'll keep paying our permits as long, nice, if we're dealing with nice people, and you certainly seem to have a nice attitude about yourself, and that's really appreciated. Easier to work with you.
I think there's a benefit to having somebody who's A, an outsider, so I haven't worked for the health district before. B, isn't somebody who's worked in environmental health before.
Yeah.
To come in, the reason it's good to have an outsider, you get a fresh set of eyes on things. And I don't have existing relationships with people. You know, I'm not interested in protecting relationships. And sometimes when you're a manager and you've, say, worked with people for a really long time, and then you become the boss, you kind of are fearful of protecting. You want to protect that relationship a little. You don't want to anger because you have a friendship, if you will. So I don't have any of those things. And I tell my staff this all the time. You know, this isn't, you put in your minutes. I tell them the same thing. You know, I don't have any relationships. I'm not worried about protecting relationships. I'm worried about being consistent and fair and holding people accountable for what they say they're going to do and what I expect them to do. So.
And that's a two-way street. I mean, basically, we've got to, from, being contractors or, or basically running restaurants or whatever, we've got to, be fair with whoever comes on our site and not have an attitude and to basically work together. And I'm a big believer in if we all work together, we get the job done and we move along. And that's really what we're looking to do. And I think that it is nice to have, Chatham has definitely had some, it's years been going on. I mean, Thad was here and basically, he went through a tough period at the end. I mean, he was, he ran that thing for many years, but at the end it was certainly a very bumpy road. And when Don took over, he took over a mess. And that was not a pleasant desk to get behind the first day he sat behind that desk. And so I think that, and we knew him from being out in the field for years and years. So if you went to Portland, you dealt with Don, and so I think it was a case where that was a tough seat to have. And but I like the idea that it is somebody from outside and also someone with a little different background, because I think you need to offer some other things through the school systems. You need to take and make basically all the health items that are in public areas here. And so I think that's a nice thing to add, because really the only contact I've had with Chatham over the past 20 years is basically a regulatory thing. And I, once we brought it up and started to bring it up, we brought up, do some educational things. Do some educational things. And, we had one here the other night. And
That's right.
Davison was here the other night. We didn't get the advertising out that we had hoped to, but they had a very good group here, asked good questions, and I think it was a small group. I think we can do a little better with numbers, but we do have to get exposure out there in order to do it.
Somebody reached out. It was too late. Somebody from the East Haddam News.
Yes.
I didn't know about the East Haddam News. They
Yes.
called and said, "Hey, I see you're doing a program tonight. When you're doing something in town, let me know." I said, "Great."
Yeah.
Give me your contact information.
Yes, because basically, get basically something out there so that there's a flyer out there, and then it'll go out to all, 5,000 people, and we'll get it.
We're starting to do some more thing besides just regulatory. So we're doing regular blood pressure clinics in the senior centers in all towns.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a chronic disease, diabetes, and chronic pain self-management. Those are all different programs. So they're 6-week courses. We're rotating those throughout the towns. So diabetes, chronic disease, and chronic pain are 3 of the top issues just around the state in general. So those are things that we're doing in town.
Yep.
So that's, to me, where you know, there are two things health departments should be doing: protecting public health and promoting public health. Protecting typically means regulatory stuff.
Yeah.
You're doing that's it. Promoting means getting out there and talking to people about health.
Yeah.
Working with partners to try to figure out the best ways to even develop the economy, to make sure that people have good jobs, good clean places to live, ways to get to work and to other places that they need to, clean air, clean water. I mean that.
But it also brings out something else where we get to experience your staff on a different level or a different atmosphere. It's not just regulatory sort of thing. And just with Liz the other night, it was, you know, a entirely different feeling in the room than if we're out in the field inspecting a well. And so it's I think it's helpful to see people in a different light and to see that, you know, they're jeepers, you could go out and have a beer with these people. And whereas if it's just a regulatory, you'd say, God, I would never want a beer with those people. They're not very nice people. So it's a way in which to, I think, to give them a little more exposure to, and come across in a little different area, different subject matter, and but still, you know, we're doing something to promote health in our community here.
That's right.
And but I think having, you know, basically being available so that contractors or restaurants or food service of any kind can have access to you and basically say, you know, this is the problem we have, how do we overcome it? And because sometimes you can't do that on a local level with a sanitarian who happens to be here. But 99% of the time, probably 90% of the time, we can. And but sometimes we would like to have access to the top. And so having you available is certainly very.
My door's always open. I answer my phone, so calls. The only way I get to know people in town.
Yes.
You know, I don't have office hours in town hall. I probably sit here and sit on my hands, and nobody would come to see me most of the time.
No, because we wouldn't know you were there.
Yeah, you want to talk about tick-borne diseases? You know, you pull the tick off yourself. You want to get it tested? You want to call me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we do those things. You know, I don't know how many people know that we test ticks for free. You send a tick, bring a tick in, we'll send it off, get it tested.
No, I didn't know that.
It's a tremendous service.
Yes, it is. Because we have all done it.
Everybody pulled the tick off you. You know, everybody probably knows somebody or themselves has had tick-borne disease. So that was my background in research. I was studying babesiosis for the Red Cross. It's the second most common tick-borne disease in Connecticut. Kills some people. So I know a lot about ticks and tick-borne diseases. You want to talk about that? You want to bring me into the schools to talk about tick-borne diseases? Great. Before, you know, at Ledgelight, we were working with Con OSHA to go around to the different municipalities, the municipal workers, to educate them about their risks. You know, Department of Public Works, sewer department. You've got police on detail. You've got Park and Rec. You know, they go out there into these environments where there are ticks, and they need to understand, you know, how to protect themselves. And so, you know, we were doing those things. So we started to do that too. Nancy McAuliffe is our health educator. She's half-time health educator. She gave a presentation last week. It was East Hampton, I think.
Okay.
So we're going to start rotating that around.
Now, who did she give that presentation
I think
to?
it was Department of Public Works, sewer.
Okay. Municipal employees.
Municipal employees,
Yeah.
Municipal employees. And, you know, we can expand that to the general public. You know, I've done those things myself. Spoken at libraries, talk about tick-borne diseases. It's just something that's on everybody's mind right now, especially.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
So you'll see me. I mean, you'll see me out here. That's just
Good.
my expertise, so.
I think that's very helpful and very good. Does anybody else have any
Good
questions?
talking to you, Russ.
Real quick question.
Yeah.
There's a small business association in town. Would you be willing to do the same, you know, talk and introduction that you did tonight with them?
Sure, anytime. Yeah.
Because,
I feel a
yeah,
lot better. I'm glad I got that off my chest.
Well, again, not to throw anybody under the bus and have it entered into the minutes, but, you know, we can talk privately sometime about your experience. I'm curious.
I like to talk in the open.
Okay, well, okay, we can talk about it right now.
More fun.
No worries. You said you don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Again, I'm 6 weeks on the job. I don't know all my staff or the history or anything like that.
Yeah.
So if you've had an experience with one of my staff, I should know. I want to know about it.
Yeah. But no, I think it's very helpful though to be available, be around, and I think certainly I wish you well, and we'll hopefully can have a good working relationship with you, and as we find something that is out there, because the business association, that's where the restaurant people are, and where the contractors are, and so I think they're the ones who are going to be the food service inspections. So it'd be great if they know you, and I think everybody likes to take and know that there is somebody they can call if they have a problem. And
The sanitarian is generally the face of the agency, right? You're going to see them. I know towns are maybe used to having somebody in town hall that they can go to above that person if they have bad experience.
No, not really. We don't. I mean, basically, we've just had the sanitarian, and if we have a problem, then obviously, we'd have to go to the director, whether it was Don or whether it was Thad.
Yeah.
And, but we'd like to get to it before it gets to that point, to basically, let's see what the problem is and how can we overcome the problem. And if you have somebody who's consistently reading soils wrong, then maybe there's something there that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And as Ralph said, that's basically, if you go read those soils wrong, it can be thousands of dollars worth of difference, because all of a sudden now you got this mound out in your yard that doesn't maybe need to be there. And
People, I think, some sanitarians, I haven't quite got my finger in this, it's not necessarily my sanitarians, feel like they're on an island. They're out there and they're expected to be the experts, and they might just have the attitude that I better have an answer. My approach to that is, if you're not sure, you get backup. That's why we have a district, right? It's not.
let's get a second opinion
Yeah,
here.
you shouldn't be on an island.
Right.
That's
No, and if we had basically say, okay, if one of the sanitarians, I see the modeling line here and you see the modeling line here because, we've got some scarring here, and, but usually it's some iron, and we have tons of iron in this town.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but if you're just 2 feet worth of difference, it can be a lot of difference in the design of that system.
Yeah, if you got to bring in a bunch of expensive soil,
Right.
it's not.
That's not needed.
Get
But
your
if we can have
engineer.
a second person come out from the district and say, okay, let me take a look at it. Now, if I have 2 sanitarians that tell me that, Bob, you're all wet, that's modeling, it's not iron up there. Then you say, okay, I'll buy it. But I think it's nice when you have somebody else take a look at it and give us a second opinion. I guess it's like my health. I want a second opinion now and then.
Yeah, before you go and
Go under the knife and.
$20,000 or whatever. Yeah. If you want to hear somebody else say, yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. Does anybody else are done? You have-
Yes, as director, how will you affect hiring, firing, funding? Will those all be issues?
So hiring, firing
Will pass
is
through you?
exclusively under my authority. So
Okay.
the budget is, I present a budget to the board.
Okay.
And they decide whether or not it's reasonable. They're the town's
Yeah.
appointed representatives.
Yeah.
They would decide if it's reasonable or not, and say, yeah, I think this is something that looks good, or they'd say, no, we can't come back to our towns after having a 20% increase over 4 years and ask for another 7%. I mean, that's, but I would present the budget. I would have to make a strong case for why the budget needs to be the way I'm presenting it.
I guess my question is, being a new guy from outside, traditionally is funded by per capita fees. Are there other areas out there that we could look at and look for support from the state?
Yeah, so we
Federal stuff?
Yep.
Can we see some involvement in that?
I sure hope so. Most of the work I'd done previously at Ledgely Health District was grant funded.
And that's the magic thing that
The
we're
budget
looking
that I had there for my health education department was around $350,000, and most of it was grants. Now, what I will say about that is that was a district that had more health problems than this district does. So it's a little bit hard. In any grant you write, you have to have a statement of need, demonstration of need, right? Why do you need to do this?
Mm-hmm.
What are the health consequences? What's going on in the town? What do you see? So why do you need the money, and what are you going to do to improve health? It's really tough to make a case when health is really generally pretty good. It doesn't mean there aren't health issues in this area. There are. The best way that I know how to bring grants in is to take a steady, deliberate approach to doing an assessment, to understand the health of the community writ large, find out where those health issues are. There's going to be an issue, whatever it is, and it's going to be worse here than it is somewhere else. Guarantee something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you design a plan to improve that condition, whatever it happens to be. Then you seek funding for that so that you can say, here's the need, here's the plan, here's why we need funding. So whenever you get grants in, and this isn't like an accounting trick or anything, but most grants, federal grants, they allow you to skim off the top something for G&A, right? 10% is very common. So that helps sort of stabilize the budget a little bit. So you can stabilize a budget, you know, with enough grants. I doubt we'll ever get there where we're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. We could get $50,000, we could get $80,000, maybe we could get $100,000. And so that helps you do some things, retain staff, especially if you can involve environmental health staff in whatever grant it is. So that's core funded staff that are being paid for by a grant. So then, you know, the next year you're looking at your budget and you're saying, okay, we're getting $60,000 in this grant that we weren't before, 10% for G&A. We're funding this person out of this grant. Well, we don't need to increase our per capita. So,
And that's what I've seen in some of the other health districts.
Yeah.
They're, granted, I mean, Ledgely could be attracting more grants that they're working with New London. So New London is going to be that one that has every need in the world out there.
Right.
And where you get the rural towns, it's harder to come up with that. But you still see the other ones seemed like they were doing much better with grants than Chatham was.
yeah.
And Chatham has not been attracting the grants because, I don't know, they're not going after them or they don't have really done the research yet to develop a good argument for a grant.
Yeah.
Is probably what it is.
There's some place, if you're chasing the money, so to speak, if you're looking to see where the funding is coming from and what it's for.
It's getting more expensive, so there's a need to find other ways to fund it.
Yeah, for sure, I agree, but chasing the money is not necessarily the way to go. You want to understand what the problems are, and then you seek the money to address those issues.
Mm-hmm.
Farmers market promotion, the USDA has grants for those. You know, we've got 3 farmers markets in this jurisdiction. One of them is in East Haddam.
Yeah, and it's a good size one. It's good.
Yeah, it's a decent sized one. So the USDA has those grants. There are probably options.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing coming in the next 12 months.
Right.
Because
You haven't done the research
This
yet.
is my process. You know, this is
Yeah.
the process I'm going to follow. But I'm fairly confident we'll figure out a way to secure some grants. So.
In the hiring and firing part, it seemed to me, the feeling that I've gotten in the past is officials, health inspectors specifically, have stayed in place for such a long period of time because the director felt that's the best they could get and there's none available. How do we cut that off and take a look and see what's available out there in the market to hire in those capacities? It seems like it's pretty limited.
I will tell you that right now in the state of Connecticut, there is a real shortage of trained, even modestly experienced environmental health sanitarians.
Yeah.
The state hasn't been certifying food service inspectors for more than a year because they've been waiting to adopt the FDA food code.
Yeah.
They had said they were going to adopt the FDA food code a year and a half ago. Then there was a delay. Then there was another delay. So now we're talking about January 2020. So they had stopped certifying inspectors. So we're not finding any new inspectors. They're just not being certified. The people on the land use side, the people who are doing soils and things like that, they're aging out, frankly. We're not attracting the state. Typically, they'll come through the environmental health training program from Southern Connecticut State University. University of Connecticut has an environmental health program. It's not great. We're not producing young environmental health sanitarians from our colleges and universities. It's a systemic, a structural problem. Part of it is because youth are fleeing the state. You know, young, educated people aren't staying in the state of Connecticut for the most part, so we're an older state, we're getting older. We can have a discussion about why that is, you know, the tax environment, whatever, the job environment. But so there's a dearth of trained sanitarians. I see older sanitarians everywhere around the state of Connecticut that are retiring and they're not being replaced. What's happening is health departments and districts are parasitizing each other. So when you get a workforce that's declining in numbers and the need is remaining the same, which it is, what that does is, so I pull that sanitarian from that health department because I pay him a little more. Well, then somebody else pulls my sanitarian because they pay him a little more. Puts upward pressure on salaries. So like any industry, even though this is public health, like any industry, when that starts happening, it does put upward pressure on salaries. You're either not going to have people or you're going to pay them more. And eventually, like in any other industry, it starts looking really attractive to young people.
Right.
So then suddenly you say, wow, I can make $65,000 in 5 years at this job. I do some training, I got a college degree, I do a little training with the state. 5 years down the road, I'm 26, I'm making $65,000, that sounds great. So I think that's where we're heading. I don't see another way around it. It's what we're seeing. You know, we lost a sanitarian just this week was her last day. It was the third this week. She was doing food service inspections. She got what I think is a pretty sweetheart deal from South Windsor. She's not even credentialed because she's not even a registered sanitarian, and she got paid. She got an office getting paid $60,000 a year. So that's what we're seeing. So I'll actually tell you how it goes. I posted the job already. As soon as she gave me written notice, I posted a job. We've had a couple applicants. One person is an extremely qualified applicant from another health department, and one is a completely green, uncredentialed, untrained individual.
What do you do with that one?
Right. So
And obviously the salary level is considerably different.
So we were one of the lucky ones until she left. We had a nice young sanitarian. She was food certified. She was probably among the last crop of young people who got food certified by the state. And that's probably why she commanded the salary she did. So, but our budget says we could pay somebody this. So there's an experienced sanitarian who probably would command a salary of this. And then there's somebody who would command a salary here. Good for the budget, not great for service. So I have to make a decision about, do we maybe try to dip into our reserves to get that experienced sanitarian because that's all there is? Or do I say, we'll take the young person, we'll have them do stuff that doesn't require a credential, you know, they can do B100 days if they're trained, they don't need to be a sanitarian, they can do complaint investigations, they can do some stuff and eventually coach them up. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet.
Yeah.
I'm still holding out hope that we'll get that perfect middle person who's gonna apply.
That's tough to do though, I'm sure.
Yeah,
That's
well,
really
it's
tough.
just,
Yeah.
we're just not seeing them.
Yeah.
So,
But as you say though, as the salary levels grow, then that does seem to open more doors that,
does,
to do that sort of thing.
yes.
Just to get back to East Haddam and Don, who is basically our sanitarian here, you were talking about him retiring in October or November or something.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to a town like East Haddam as one of these senior sanitarians retire? You know, for us to go back to your very limited credentialed person is not really what we want to see, because we're still going to pay the same fees. And we're going to get somebody with a limited experience. Obviously, we want the person who has got the experience, who we feel then can also be somebody that we can work with and come on the job with. It doesn't have to have a great attitude. We don't have to have a bad attitude. But I think that we're going to be looking for you to give us a little idea as to what's going to happen. It's going to be here very shortly.
Yeah, so
Time goes by real quick when we're dealing with personnel, and we certainly don't want to go back to where we were.
No, so I'll work with our chief sanitarian, Steve Knopf, to figure out a plan for coverage until we hire somebody.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
The good news is that we budgeted for somebody who's experienced to replace Don. And there are experienced people out there, and hopefully we'll be able to draw somebody to come and work for us.
Yeah.
You know, we're not gonna replace Don with
With somebody with
somebody
limited.
green that has no experience.
Okay.
So that's the plan, and,
Yeah.
and all I can tell you is, in the interim, Don retires and we're trying to find somebody.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a coverage issue. We're gonna have to spread the sanitarians that we have around to our 6 towns and make sure that we're getting the job done. We do have a couple of good, experienced sanitarians. So I can't guarantee you that Steve Knopf is gonna be in East Haddam 3 days a week, you know, doing office hours and taking care of. I've got 6 towns to consider.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you that we will have a coverage plan, that the work will get done. And
I guess what we're looking for is to have, somebody who's on Don's caliber, and so that we don't have to feel like we are falling, and we do have a window here, so, you do have some time to attract
I
somebody.
can tell you that that's actually all we really have. We've got a food service inspector. We've got Jamie Ellis. She does almost all our food service inspections. Everybody else is a very experienced sanitarian who does mostly land use. That's Liz, that's Steve, and that's Jim. So we're fortunate, I suppose. It's not kind of budget when you have a lot of really experienced people. They tend to earn a lot, but that's who we've got. So that's fortunate that we've got 3 really good qualified sanitarians to do the work. So I won't be able to do anything but send somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
It just might not be as often,
Yeah, well, I think that, we don't want to see it slip, that's all. It's being covered well now, we've got a good representative, we have somebody who I think is a very qualified person in the office here, and the work is getting done. So those are the big things for us. We don't want to see these things sitting there for 2 weeks before they get acted upon. So I would just encourage you to do everything you can to give us the best qualified person who is going to cover those hours in there.
I will do what I can to
All right.
make sure that there is limited to no slip in quality. I can't guarantee quantity again. We're gonna be down 1 person, but quality,
But hopefully you're going to pick up somebody.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
If we can't find somebody, then it's really bad news for local public health in the state of Connecticut everywhere. I mean,
Right, because you want to hire somebody, and hopefully you want somebody from at least the middle and up. And
That's right.
so that we end up with somebody who is a qualified person.
That's right. And part of the consideration is, so again, I've got some really unqualified people who maybe we can coach up to do some food service inspections eventually.
Yeah.
That can be good on the budget. So if we need to hire a even more experienced person, because we've got wiggle room in the budget, then somebody of Don's caliber to replace Don, then maybe we can do that. So those are the things I'm considering. I'm looking 1, 3, 5 years down the road, not just next week, how am I gonna get my work done? So.
No, and we have to look at it that way too.
Sure.
We want to look at it long term. We'd like to have consistency in that office, and I think that that's the biggest thing. But I don't want to hold you any longer. Does anybody else have any other questions for us here? And well, we certainly appreciate you coming.
Sure.
Very, very nice to
I kinda wanna-
meet you.
What's your name?
Irene.
Irene, hey, nice to meet you.
Don Bergeron.
Don, hey, nice to meet you.
Bob
Yeah, Bob,
Kastner.
sure.
Okay, Russell.
Russ.
Ralph.
Ralph.
Do you have a card?
Mike? Yeah, sure.
And
Forward it over to the business associations.
Yeah, no problem. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Sharon? Sharon, okay, hi. Nice to meet you, Sharon. All right, thank
but
you.
no, thank you very much, and certainly appreciate you coming over
Yeah,
tonight.
my pleasure.
Very
And
good.
just let me know when you
Sure.
want to come to the meeting, all right?
All right, sounds good.
Take care.
Okay.
Well, now we gotta get moving a little bit here. We've had a couple of kind of long things here, and so I'm gonna take and really move along here on the rest of this agenda here and kind of go from there. EDC Chairman's report, I just wanted to just update the board on a couple of things that went on. Ryan Scully, he's was before P&Z. He asked EDC if they wouldn't come to the planning and zoning meeting and just say a few words at the
Date?
public hearing.
Date?
Oh, he's already over.
Oh,
He did, and so I was there. Went to the meeting and basically spoke in favor of it. He's putting in 4,800 square feet of commercial space over on Commerce Drive. So it's a new building, and I think a nice addition to the community. And so I was very happy to support the application over there. And also, we participated in the Jack Herman bench dedication this week. Basically, that was an EDC and a business association effort. We basically had the fundraiser and raised the money for that bench, and also had the dedication. Had 65 people that came to the dedication, and basically Jack's family was there. His daughter was there, his son was there, and basically some of the grandkids were there. It was very, very nice, and Jack's daughter was so appreciative of what the Business Association and EDC did. She thanked me many, many times, and so it meant a lot to the family that he was recognized, and basically there's basically the bench for him, and there's also more money came in than what was needed for the bench, and so that's going to go into a scholarship. So there's going to be a continuous scholarship go on, and so that's going to be something that's going to be administered by the Business Association, and certainly EDC would like to support that and basically work with the Business Association on that. And so it worked out really, really well. And the building fees, I know that Emmett has talked to the building department and the inspector, and they are working out some new fees, and that was certainly a major part of our last meeting. So I think that hopefully we can see something at the next meeting as to where that's going to go.
Chatham Health has went up a lot again.
Oh, yeah, they had pretty much, I would venture to say, at least a 10%. Some of them are even more than a 10% increase.
Well, maybe
80? 80% increase? What was that, for pools?
yeah, for pools.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
They went up like 40% last year and almost 80% this year.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to get into justifying costs.
No,
Enough's enough.
but it's just the idea, though, that
Yeah.
that's all of a sudden that's a lot of money that's
Yeah.
going on around here, and so the transfer station, basically they did put a new RAM in there, and it is back operating again. I don't know anything more about it.
New one or a rebuilt one?
Rebuilt. No, it's actually one that they rented from Waste Management.
It's smaller than
It's
the old
smaller than the old one. Apparently, it's not as efficient.
Yeah.
We need to have a new unit, and I don't know why they're fooling around with this, but it's a I think it was a $60,000, $70,000 item, and they just you just need to do it. That's all. But so they're renting this new piece for $300 a month from basically the Willimantic Waste, and that's who takes our waste. So it's the waste company, but it's certainly not the solution to the problem. It's basically a Band-Aid on the problem, as far as I can see. I did want to take and get a little input from the board on this tourism committee. Basically, at one of our meetings of the five-town group, Essex Steam Train is basically put out a feeler as to whether East Haddam would be supportive of the Lady Catherine coming down and tying up over on the other side of the river on the nights we have the music down on the river. The good part is it would take some of the overflow, because basically it's pretty well jammed over on the East Adams side. And they are going over on the other side now. Obviously, the parking is over there, and the shuttle buses are coming across. But they were basically going to have the Lady Catherine come down and dock there, and you could go on the Lady Catherine and basically sit there and listen to the music.
But they have it on our side.
The docks aren't big enough over there and to do it.
On our side.
On our side, yeah. If we had a dock, I think they would, but basically, we're not big enough to handle that.
And they're not allowed to anchor, or they're not able to anchor?
I don't think they don't want to anchor, they want to basically be at a dock, and so that people can come on and go off.
Portable that they can attach to? Because it's deep enough on our side, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's deep enough,
So
yeah.
why not have a portable
Oh,
gangway?
we just don't have the physical, the posts have to be so high and
Yeah.
to hold those boats.
And you get a lot of opposition from all of there's at least 20
There's all
other
the other
smaller
boats.
craft there.
Yeah.
They've been enjoying it for years, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden, Big
Yep.
Bertha
Gotcha.
Comes in there.
It just takes it's
It's-
gonna upset
yeah.
somebody and cause a little havoc to the Goodspeed Opera House, and they'll shut her off
Yep.
totally.
Gotcha.
So I just want to get a feeling whether you think that's something that we should encourage and basically, you know, I don't want to take away from the Gelston House's business, and that's kind of where I'm concerned whether.
Gelson House business on a Monday night? What business does the Gelson House get on a Monday night?
Well, it's only when the music is on. They're packed.
And they only get maybe 15, 20, they don't even get 20% of the overflow after the show was over.
Oh, yeah, no,
No.
it's just during the show.
It's just during the show.
Just during the show, that, you know, that deck up there is full.
Yeah.
Right, and it will be anyways.
Yeah.
But more the
We
merrier.
do a
and-
barbecue that night too.
What was
But
that?
We do
they
an
really
outside
haven't been
barbecue
though.
Yeah.
that night.
They haven't been
Who has
though, have they?
barbecue?
The Gelston
Gelston
House?
House. On Monday
'Cause-
nights, he does that.
The
He
the
did
first
that.
couple of years. they
Yeah, I
had
don't think
grills
he's
out
doing
there,
that.
and They haven't been doing them
the last show.
year.
And who was that, open space? He does
Yeah,
that for the.
Yeah,
open
that,
space.
that
yeah,
was
open
more of a
space.
That's the last
fundraiser.
one.
Yeah.
For quite a few years, he was giving out hot dogs.
Right.
But that was abused by the people down below. They were running up, using the bathroom, just taking hot dogs. So ISO had to eliminate that.
Right.
But as far as the boat, I wouldn't want to deny the boat. That's the beauty of new, fresh people coming in. And there seems to be
Great idea.
very few shows, it's so jammed up,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Green. One or two shows a
One
year
or two,
are
yeah.
extremely jammed up.
Yes.
There's no really room.
Yeah.
There's room for standing. But I'd like to see the boat bring in, but they're only gonna bring in 100 people.
Well, basically, they're not gonna bring in people, they're gonna open the boat up and say you can come on the boat and be off the parking lot, so there's a place to sit.
Oh, I thought they were bringing in their own customers.
No,
from their side.
no,
This
they're
is the
basically
overflow.
gonna bring the boat, cause the boat usually stays up in Middletown. So they were
Yeah.
gonna bring the boat down, dock it out there, cause they own the rights to the dock
On the other side.
on the other side. And so they were gonna tie up over there, and then basically let people come on the boat.
I doubt it.
That was.
It's a good adventure for them to give it a try, but really, people are gonna leave the show to go over on their boat and sit.
No, they were gonna, during the show, they were
Yeah,
gonna,
during the show.
Instead of
during the
coming-
show.
But it's a little too far away to really appreciate the music from the other side. I've been over there. I'd be shocked if it works.
Wanna
It's
try
Great
it.
if it works.
They wanna
Well,
try
what
it.
they're gonna do is they're going to, the matter of fact, they were gonna invite the EDC, and just give it a try,
And
and
they
see
should
what
give it a
people
try.
thought.
They should give it a try, and take a couple, 3 times to give
And
it
you'll
a try.
sit there and you'll get waited on, you can eat, you can drink.
Oh, it's great.
Somebody comes
It's
over.
great. I'd highly promote it. If it
Okay,
works,
so
it
from,
works.
from the standpoint
It's a
of
fine
this board, you would support basically,
idea. Give it a try.
give it a try. Okay, I just wanted
I
to
think it's a nice
make
idea.
sure that
I like it.
we're, we are East Haddam, and so my first thing is we gotta take care of East Haddam. And, but I do like the regional feeling of
Me too.
the area. And it does, I think it would add to the whole atmosphere there, to have the Lady Catherine there, that's a beautiful ship.
It sure would. It
And,
sure would.
so,
that's nice.
all right, so during those meetings, basically what I'm gonna do is work on, see if we can do that. And if we do have it, they said, they'd like to invite the whole EDC commission to come down and be a
Great.
part of it.
Well,
So, sounded good to me, so. Okay. The only other thing I really want to accomplish tonight is basically, we had the coordinator, we have a new administrator we interviewed 4 different parties. We picked Irene, so Irene is our new administrator for the
Really?
EDC. Yeah.
You have enough room to do that on your plate?
I'm sorry, I lost my voice.
Because of you, too. She was out till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, hollering at the Democrats.
It's gonna be short.
Yeah, it'll be a short speech.
Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt.
But yeah, no problem. What I've done is I've left AAA. I don't work for AAA anymore. And because the legislative job is a part-time position, I have time to do this. And one of the reasons I started at AAA was I was supposed to be a trainer, a sales trainer. And I was supposed to start as an agent there and then wait till the training thing happened. It never happened. So finally my boss at one point said, well, how long are you gonna wait? He's right. So I'm gonna start working as a consultant for training on sales and marketing for companies. So I'll be working on that on the side, but I'll be able to do, the work with EDC. So I'm actually really excited. I was offered the job a couple years ago, before Sue took it, before Susan Wade took it. And at that time, I was still needing the income from AAA. Between the legislative job and this, and my consulting, I'll be fine. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think we are extremely lucky to have somebody this qualified to become the administrator.
Get a bottle of champagne now.
Yeah.
There you
So I think
It's
we're,
a tough time.
yeah, I think it was really great. And we had 4 very good applicants. And so.
It's a little scary for me to have that many.
Local people or?
Yes, they were all local people and very diverse. One of them owned a store, and it wasn't in East Haddam, but they owned a store down in Niantic. They were very involved with basically the Niantic Business
downtown,
Association.
yeah.
And they've got a very active business association on Main Street in Niantic. And they do quite a bit. Well, they have that walkway.
Yeah.
And that walkway is a draw. And,
Above water. The walkway.
there you go.
We gotta have
That's
something.
a hot spot.
Yes.
That's a very inviting place, that whole walk right there.
It is. It's beautifully done.
They capitalized on the water.
Yeah.
We grew up there 40-some years ago. Our Unc's on the Bay,
Oh,
our relatives,
okay.
Waterford.
Yep.
But finally, that place came alive when they changed the bridge and they added that walkway.
Yeah.
It was at a
That
hot-
walkway was
Good
beautiful.
looking, good
Yeah.
looking.
The walkway came from the railroad. Railroad did that,
Right.
And I thought that was interesting because of because they were encroaching on the waterfront there, and so the deal they made with the town was you build us a walkway.
What a home run.
Oh, it was a fabulous home run. So we have a little business to do here. Basically, under new business, commission changes. So Irene would be resigning from the board because you can't be getting the salary from this board, which she's taking a cut, in order to take and do this. And all the checks go out, right after we get through around here. And anyway, so we have to have accept the resignation of Irene as a member of the EDC. So that she can take the position of the administrator. So if someone could make the motion for that, that would be great.
So
I'd like to make a
proposed.
motion.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, we got a second?
Second, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All those in favor of accepting the resignation with regret from Irene? Regret, maybe we shouldn't be with regret. Maybe we should be, we like the idea. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, moving. All right, now, because we have a regular seat available, Mike, would you like us to move on that tonight, or would you like?
I think we can move on that.
You can move on that? Okay. What I would like to propose is for Mike to take the position as a regular member. He's an alternate member. He's off the wall as far as a great member is concerned, and I think that we certainly would welcome him on as a regular member. So if someone would like to make a motion to that effect, that would be good. And Mike, you can't do it.
I'd like to make a motion for that.
All right, and we got a second?
I will second.
All right, do we have and all those in favor of the motion? Aye. Mike, you got yourself a new job.
You didn't oppose.
All right,
Does
I'll
he
tell
have
you.
to be appointed by the first selectman? So
Yeah,
we
these
have
are,
to send
these are
that to him.
recommendations to
To
the
the
first, to
selectmen.
the first selectman
Okay.
to appoint.
Gotcha.
Yes. Also, Jess Stone, and she has asked to become on the board as there would be an alternate position available. And I would certainly think that as a person on the business association here, that be always great. It's nice having Mike on it. Obviously, she's the president of it this year.
Yeah.
So she certainly knows what's going on with it. She's was certainly very involved with the whole Jack Herman bench and all that. With so teaming up with EDC and of course it's the thing that I think has made these two boards stronger is the association between the both of us. I think it's really grown over the past couple of years, and certainly the relationship between these two boards has really grown and grown well. And I think it's going to continue, and I think having you on this board has been great because I think there's a great combination here to work back and forth between these two boards, and I think we both need each other, and I think we kind of complement each other, and so it kind of works. So if anybody feels like they'd like to take and invite Jess on as the on the board. I open it up to anybody making a
I make that recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah, I
that.
second. And
Second?
third.
All right. Any thoughts, comments? All right, all those in favor
Great
of
assets.
inviting Jess Stone on as an alternate member of the EDC? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? So be it. All right, I will inform Jess that we're recommending her and let it be her choice if she would like to basically sit on the board.
And just real quick, kind of along those lines too, we had a preliminary meeting on the Business Expo for this year, and would like the EDC's support and cooperation with that as well for this coming year, just like we did last year.
Sure. Yeah.
We're kind of working on the schedule, the date. We're going to talk to the town offices about getting that going.
Yep.
And everything
Okay.
too.
And I
it's
think you
certainly
need
something
to
that we
you
can
need to
have.
tie this in with EDC
Absolutely.
when we do this.
Yeah.
So
And that's something we can certainly have, another conversation another time
Sure.
with, but just kind of put it on the
well,
radar.
would you like a motion so that we are basically saying we would like to promote the Business Expo and team up with the business association on this?
Yeah, please.
I think that would somebody like to
Make
make
a
that?
motion, I'd like to make a motion for that.
Okay.
To,
Ralph
agree with that.
is basically making a motion that we will team up with the business administration to association, I guess I should say, association to have the Business Expo this coming year, and we'll let
End
the
of
dates, and we'll
October,
work on the
and-
dates and so
yeah.
forth.
Excuse me, and where do you hold that this year?
Right here.
Oh, right
Yep,
in this
right
room?
In the
Or in this
municipal building. We usually.
Auditorium?
It's
go.
between the gym and 2 or 3 of the meeting rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have kind of expo tables where you can spotlight your business in the gym. We had a opening ceremony in the gym last year, and then actually last year we had 9 different workshops throughout the day in 3 of the different meeting
That
rooms.
was the first year you held
That was
it
the
here,
first year that we
obviously,
had
right?
it. Period. And we had probably throughout the day there was probably 30 or 40 people in and out.
Well, when you
throughout
had it at the
course of
Gelston
day.
House, that was actually a workshop also, 5-6 years ago, right? 4 or
I
5?
wasn't involved with that one,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
that was actually a
that
workshop
one,
too.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this was big time.
Yeah, this was a little bit bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. It looked really good,
Yeah.
and so I thought did a good job with it, and so I think it's a nice thing, and those kind of things usually grow on themselves,
Yeah.
and the first one's the toughest one.
This year.
Hopefully The second one's a little bit easier, and especially on the person who has to put it together. All right, all those in favor of EDC teaming up with the business group for the Business Expo here?
Aye.
All those in favor, aye? Aye. Anybody opposed? So be it. Okay. Public comment with the public? I mean, there's a lot of people out there, so would the public like to have any comments for the board?
No, I don't have any comments. I thought the lady, Jenna, that presented with a very interesting business model. My only concern, if she can energize the businesses, but, to get tourism from out of state, where are people gonna stay? And especially if you look around the river towns, there's not a lot of lodging. I mean, there's the campgrounds but there's nothing,
We don't have a big hotel anywhere, do we? We're missing that hotel.
yeah, we're missing something, somewhere along the river towns.
Yeah.
Griswold Inn, maybe they have some lodging,
Yeah.
but, that in my mind would be something for the riverfront recapture area, if they could put something that was
Accommodations in some way.
combination there that would really kind of jumpstart the whole thing.
Yep.
It would be a win-win.
Even if it was like 20 rooms.
Yeah, yeah.
Small,
I don't
more
think
of an inn than a hotel.
Yeah, I would say a boutique inn,
Yeah.
Maybe 20, 25 rooms maximum.
Yeah.
And, just so you have a place that people can reside and becomes the launching point for visiting, all these attractions, which are great. But somehow we need to figure out how to get suitable lodging in place.
Yeah, I agree, and we do. We certainly need to take and have additional lodging. And the small ones, I mean, we did lose basically the one down the center of town, and that was 7 rooms down there. And they have closed. And so, we're and talking with management, they're basically saying that they're too small. These ones that are 5 and 6 or 7 rooms, there's too much overhead for that amount of rooms to carry. So basically,
I think you need 20.
Yeah, I
Is the right
pretty
number.
much that's what I hear, that they're saying you need it in order to keep the overhead equal with the number of rooms. 20 is a number that would probably work, and go from there. But does anybody else have anything to offer that they'd like to add? You're not going to talk anymore. You're done talking. Thank you, everybody. I just need a motion to adjourn at 10 minutes to 9.
A motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much.
One tonight.
Uh,
Now we can.
okay.
Congratulations.
Mike.